welcome to a new video, and I know I'm a bit late here to the party of the Mega Drive Mini, but I'd just like to kick off this video with some early memories of the original release back in 1990. This is the Model 1, and I remember one Christmas, we all have these friends that seem to get all get the cool stuff. And I remember popping over there, and my friend had the Mega Drive Model 1 all hooked up. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's a really cool game console. Because back at home, my siblings had an Amiga 1200, and you know, they were pretty popular in the UK, but she kind of used it for homework, so I never really kind of caught on to video games until I saw one of these. And a lot of people would recognize more of the Model 2. This was in a lot more households here in the UK, and the Sega was really popular over here. And this was the very first game console I had as a kid one Christmas in the early 90s, and it came bundled with a Mega Drive Mega 5 cartridge. So it had about 5 games, and I remember thinking like, wow, finally I've got my own game console, and these are the only games I'm ever going to need and play. But obviously times have changed, and let's fast forward over to 2019, and we get a Mega Drive Mini. So this is actually a great console that has actually been made by Sega. There's been a fair few micro consoles in the past by third-party games that managed to get a license to release these, but we finally get one released by Sega. So this is a great console to introduce your siblings or some younger people to video games and what they were like back in the day. Now they've got some great collection of video games, and I'll just show you the back of all the collection.
There are 40 games included in this bundle, including 2 bonus games, and already you are saving a lot of money if you were to go out and purchase the original for the system, with Mega Man now selling up to £349 and games like Castlevania going for around £150. Now you can legally own these games without splashing a serious amount of cash.
So as a Sega fanboy, I'm pretty excited.
So just turn it on, you head straight to this main menu, you choose your language, and you're straight in. So here are all the games available. A brand new soundtrack was created by the original composer of Streets of Rage, Yuzo Koshiro, which I find pretty awesome and suits this so well. So let's head to the settings and see what we can play with. So if we go to the screen settings, it gives you the options of the normal screen ratio or stretch. So I prefer the normal ratio, so I'm going to stick with that. And you also can select wallpaper behind. So I'm glad that it gives you a clear black. As a shmup fan myself, let's go with testing out some gameplay of Thunder Force. Firstly, the quality of the image is great, no screen tearing or lag with this title. It runs and looks the best I ever seen on Mega Drive. One thing to note is, besides here in the UK and PAL zones, Mega Drives was set out with a video output of 50Hz, basically shrinking the screen size from top to bottom and running 10 to 20 frames a bit slower. All these titles that I did test seem to be running at 60Hz, that fill the screen a bit more and the running games a bit quicker. Something that may not help pull the nostalgia strings, but will benefit with better gameplay. The sound and music quality is really good, but it doesn't hold up to the original console, lacking some bass and some clarity. It may be a problem with some gamers, but personally I got over it quite quickly. By holding down the start button, you can also select to jump out of the game and head back to the main menu. The next thing I noticed was you can also view the games side by side, like if you were stacking up on a bookshelf, which I found pretty cool. So let's go ahead and load up the game Probot Tector. I'll explain a great feature with this game and the system later on in this video. So here in the UK and PAL zone, this is the game that we got released for the console. It wasn't that common of what I know of, but this game just looks and runs great. It's my style of jam. So let's jump out of that game, and now we're going to head through to the options that you can select in the top left, and then you can select the language of your console. So I selected the Japanese, revealing the Japanese variant of the console and displaying their cover art and their version of games. It also includes further information on the day and the month that the game was released, which is pretty nice. So here's the release that they had over in Japan. You will see very different artwork, character sprites and level design. Over in Japan it was called Contra Hard Corps, acting as a continuation of the Contra series. The best feature in this game is that it also includes a life bar, making this game actually further playable, as the British version that we got in the PAL zones as well was very hard to play without these life bars. The same is here with the game Dr. Robotnik Mean Bean Machine. Here in this version in the UK and PAL, you may recognise it if you played it before. It features the characters from Puyo Puyo Pop, the classic game that resembles a lot like Tetris or Columns back in the day. Now let's head to the Japanese version of the same game, and this became their first entry of the Puyo Puyo series, with a completely different artwork, character and sprite work. There are a lot of difference with these games from the PAL zone and to the Japanese versions, which I find very interesting to find out, but that will take quite a long time. Now let's head over to the two bonus games that were included into this mini system. They are very interesting games. First, we'll start with Tetris. Tetris was not originally licensed by Sega when the game was being made, and only a few of them actually got released to the market before it was called off and cancelled, making it a very desirable collector's item for the gamers. But to end our struggles, Sega included this into the mini system. The second game was a cancelled release of the popular game in the shmup genre, Darius, which originally was made for the Mega Drive, but then, due to the release of the Sega Saturn, the game was put on shelf and then ported to the Saturn, until now it's finally found its way to the Mega Drive Mini. There are some great gems within this bundle, and one quick shout out is the game The Story of Thor, or Beyond Oasis as known in Japan. This is a new game for me, which I've been itching to play for a long time. It has the gameplay style much like Zelda, and merging them with the classic beat 'em up. One drawback with this pack is the controllers not featuring 6 buttons, so when I tried games like Street Fighter, I was restricted to only the punch moves of Ken. Originally, back in the day with the Sega Mega Drive, they released a 6-button controller alongside the release of the game, but Sega did recently license, about a year or two ago, with a company called Retrogaming to make quality controllers that are compatible with the original Mega Drive and Mini, featuring cables or with Bluetooth. You can head to the Retrogaming website, which I'll provide a link below, and see what controllers they have in stock. I also had a quick look at their Amazon page, and at the end of this month, according to the release of this video, they will be releasing a tasty looking clear blue Bluetooth controller that you can use for your original console and for this new Micro Mini Mega Drive. So that is definitely going in my pre-order basket. There are already some talks of hacking and modding this system, where you can add further games, including games from the Mega CD and the 32X console. Here I found a page of the original hackers and modders behind the SNES Mini and the PS Mini, and they are already on the case. It basically states that the console resembles quite closely to that of the SNES Mini. You can push the power of the Mega Drive Mini quite comfortably, pushing the processor to 1.3 GHz, where it originally ships out with 1 GHz. But they were not like the same incident as when they were working with the PlayStation Mini, with too much demand. There are currently some holdups, as the console itself has not reached the other members, so they cannot work together in unison. So when they get the consoles, they'll be able to work together and push this mod. I will provide the link to the whole description below. Well, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you managed to pick up one yourself, and what are your thoughts on this official licensed Sega Mega Drive Mini. If you like this video, hit this button. To help and support this channel, click subscribe, leave your comments below, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.